Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for April 26th, 2017. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. The previous session we had quite a bullish day after price pushed above our 23.76 half key level and held. As a matter of fact, pushed through it, still in pre-market, and then continued to hold above it into RTH. We shifted our bias to a price discovery phase and continue to look to defend pullbacks, and price pushed right into the upper edge of the key range, hitting 23.8875. Now this has been an area here that has been heavily rejected before, and you have all-time highs here, 24.01. So we're at the upper edge of this range right now. Obviously, I've mentioned before that we've had a neutral range here, and eventually those lead to major expansion moves. Given the overall trend, the expectation is eventually this thing will roll to the upside, and should it begin to push through 23.8875 and hold above that previous key range high there, we could be looking at a move into 24.24 quarter, followed by a continuation into 24.5975. So that's the play right now that we're looking for, is are we going to see expansion through those 23.90s? And at some point, if we do, we could be looking at full-on movement. At the moment, given yesterday's high range day and mostly trend day action, the tendency is to see a narrow range trading range day in the upcoming session, where price will then digest the recent move. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. Very low range day at the moment, only 4.5 points of overnight range. Remember, it's been averaging about 19.5 points on a 10-day basis, 20 points. So right now, trading less than a quarter of ADR, and we could see further fading the edge type of trading activity. So if we drop into the intraday time frame, you'll notice right here, very, very tightly coiled price action so far as price chops above and below the previous session's close. Nice trend day structure that we saw for most of the morning the previous session, and then price developed a trading range. So right here, 23.82 up to about 23.90. That's the trading range at the moment at these highs. So the goal is to fade the edges, keeping a primary direction in mind. So the best odds are to defend the opposite edge here for a shot at new highs. Should price get above 23.90 and begin to see weakness, it could be a fade right back down, but that's a counter trend move that you got to be very careful about. So right now, trading range market 23.90, 23.82. Look to fade the edges. Any failure to hold 23.82 rotates this back to the major 23.76, 76 half, and that's a zone that, if tested, bulls to the current up move here are going to want to defend on a swing basis. So this is a big time area to watch for a buy should price retest those 76s. Let's take a look at crude. There's crude oil. Let's pop it up to the daily time frame. There we go. One thing with crude here is we're forming a very narrow range yet again. We talked about last week how this was super tightly coiled. Our indicator indicated compression, and that told us that we should be looking for expansion. We're seeing that type of behavior again, not quite on a 5-day basis. We can drop this down to a 3-day basis. And again, not quite below. It's about 7 ticks over a 65% threshold. That would mark this as significantly compressed, but it's very compressed. So we could be looking at expansion here soon. Before we rallied recently in gold, we saw the same type of behavior here, where bears had been defending here, bears were defending here, and then bears were defending here, all off the previous week's close. So that tells me right now that the buy stops are above the previous week's close. If price starts to squeeze or pushes through the previous week's close, it could be a quick push back toward 50.70 and 51.06. So I'd be keeping an eye right now on 49.60. If there's any squeeze above that zone, the buy stops could come out, and you could be looking at a move right back toward 51s. All right, let's take a look here at the intraday time frame. Again, on an intraday basis here, watching 49.60s here. That's about the previous close. 49.63, you can see here today, sellers defending that zone or thereabouts. That tells you buy stops are above it. So again, if there's any rejection down here at the lower edge, right now it's a double bottom off 49.20. The previous session's level there. This is going to be an important zone here. If there's any failure here, or perhaps a buy off of the S3 zone, that could bring you back up towards 60. And if it pushes through 60, it could be a swing move developing back toward 51.06 and higher. So that's going to be an important area to watch. Again, bears have been controlling this trend, but if they can't hold it below 49.60, this thing could squeeze. Otherwise, still in the narrow range and could continue to develop until then. Let's take a look at gold futures here. If we look at gold, bring it up to the higher time frame, the thing with gold right now is that we've had a very bullish trend overall. We've recovered significantly since those 1120s, reached some very nice upper end targets, but came just shy of reaching our 1306 for now. The one level that I am watching very closely here is 1263s. That's the level that we've been talking about here. This is the top of the key range, bottom of the key range. Price pushes through it and is now retesting that zone. So this is a swing zone that bulls really want to keep bid for a shot at new highs in the 1306 and perhaps into the 1330s. Any failure to hold 1263s will quickly rotate this thing now down to 1240 and perhaps even back against the range into 1220. So this is an important area right here. Bulls are defending it, but got to start getting back above the previous week's low of 1275s. Otherwise, this thing could continue to drift lower back toward composite VPOC 1240 and that 1250 and that 1240 support. On an intraday basis, 1263s were the level to watch yesterday for a shot at buying, and there it is right here. Here's 63s, little 3-point reversal, and then price rallied here into about 1267s. So it was a decent little push here, but we really didn't get much lift off. And then here, after hours, price drops down again and tests those 63s yet again, take out the previous low just shyly, and then come back up. So now price is holding back above the previous close after rejecting the low. A little minor upward sloping channel here developing. This could be an implication that we attempt to push higher into 70, 75, and perhaps even as high as 80. 80 is a major, major area of resistance that bears want to defend. All right, let's take a look at ZB. Here's a look at ZB, looking at the higher time frame ZB. This one has also experienced some significant strength here lately, but has fizzled. If you look here, this was our major key level here, 153.21s, 154.07. That's a major zone. We had resistance there before. Price powered through it, attempted to hold, and here recently, after the first round of French election, we had the gap down and kind of pulled back. So this is a big time level up here, 154s, 153s, 20s. If price were to push into this area and fail to see any traction, the next major level down is going to be 149.24, and that's composite VPOC right now. So we could be looking at further weakness into this level, especially if the next bounce is defended. I'd be keeping an eye on the previous week's low and any zone in here. If any bounce occurs, there could be a nice continuation back toward those 149.24s on a swing basis. If we take a look here at the intraday, kind of a downtrending market that we've seen over the last few days here. You can see here, nice little LVN at 152.18. That's a zone here where bears want to keep offered for a continuation to new lows. That would push price into the expansion targets below. Right now, those expansion targets would take us into 151.19 and 151.07 with 151.11 as a major target. So right now, the short-term idea, defend 150.20 for a shot at pushing this thing right into this zone here. Any squeeze above 150.20 rotates this back toward 153.17. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this thing plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck and trade well.